Oh yeah! Welcome to another exciting and action-jammed, thoughtful-packed edition of the Wrestling Exchange. Those are words. I'm kind of sick physically, so my words are going to be all over the place tonight. But it's exciting because we got a lot of stuff to get to. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. As I said, it's the Wrestling Exchange. You are in for one hell of a ride. My name is Tan, and I'm joined with my co-host, as always.
Papo, what up, what up? Welcome back, everybody. Like my man Ted said, we got a good show for you today. And just a quick spoiler, stay tuned for our payback predictions. Well, I swing it over to my man Ted. Go ahead with your bad self.
Oh, hell yeah! We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm under the weather. I'm drinking a little bit of green tea with honey, so I may be a little super excited this episode. Bear with me. Listen, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Okay, we got to talk about Raw, May 11th, 2015. We got to talk about the announcement for WWE Tough Enough, including the cast and who's going to be involved. We got to talk about John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. Daniel Bryan's recent health update, our predictions for Payback, as we mentioned, and maybe, just maybe, the return of the Mega Powers. But before we do, just a couple of quick announcements. Listen, just a couple of things I'm going to ask you. Like, comment, subscribe, go to the Facebook page, share this video with your friends. The reason why I mention these things is because it helps us out. It helps us get the video out to more people, which means that we can increase the production of what we're doing, or the production value, rather. For example, I have a sweet microphone and stand that I'm dying to use, but I can't because it has this wacky thing called phantom power, and that means I need a mixer. And real talk, I'm about to have a kid, and I have a lot of bills, and I kind of can't afford it. So, if you like what you see here, if you think the show is entertaining, and you think we're hella handsome, go ahead and check out our Patreon page. And you know what? I did all the work for you. It's in the description box below. See that thing that says Patreon, patreon.com/TedPapo? Go there. You can make a donation. It will help us purchase some equipment, and it'll make everything a little bit more cool. Also, the reason why I mentioned like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff, it helps with the algorithm. It's internet math stuff. It basically puts us out there for more and more people to see. And I gotta be honest, Papo, I don't know if you realize this, but we're 1 week away from our anniversary.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Anniversary's a big thing.
It is. Maybe we'll have a surprise anniversary thing on our anniversary episode. I don't know. But here's what I do know. This is a show of the fans, by the fans, and for the fans. It's done by two passionate wrestling fans, where we basically break down each week the episode of Raw. And we go segment by segment from beginning to end, and we basically talk about it as the show happened. So maybe if you don't have the opportunity to watch Raw every week, or maybe you just want to know what's going on so that way you can join the water cooler talk at work and know what your friends are talking about when they're talking about that damn Seth Rollins, we got you covered. So like, comment, subscribe, share on all your social media sites. Go to the Facebook page. Send us your emails at tedandpapo@gmail.com so that way we can answer your questions about anything and everything pseudo-wrestling related. Papo, have I said it all? Have I done it all? Can we get to Raw?
One more disclaimer.
Oh, that's right. Being that this is a passionate discussion between two lifelong wrestling fans, bad language, four-letter words. These are things that happens. And if you're not down with that, my man's got 2 words for you.
Nipple liquor.
Mmm. Delicious. I like the way you think. Somebody give this man a promotion.
With benefits.
Fuck yeah. All right, working blue. That being said, let's talk about Raw, shall we?
Let's.
Actually, Papo, I'm a liar. Let's talk about Tough Enough real quick.
Go ahead, break it down.
Let's talk about the cast quickly. This is for the 2015 Tough Enough. It's going to be, I want to say June 23rd, live on NBC, right?
Yeah.
You don't know.
No, I don't.
You're just going along with it. So the host, of course, is Y2J, aka the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, aka Chris Jericho.
AKA Lionheart.
Oh, that's right. Cortez de Leon or something like that.
Something like that.
My Samoan's a little rusty today. Also,
That's Mexican.
also, the trainers will include Booker T, Billy Gunn, and Lita, which is really cool because I haven't seen Lita since her acceptance speech at WrestleMania 30. Going to be really interesting. And then for the panel of judges, it's going to be the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, Daniel Bryan, and Paige. So, Papa, I've got a couple of quick questions for you. Actually, you know what? One big question. It's going to encompass everything I wanted to ask you. What do you think about this cast and the roles that they will be participating in?
It's actually quite interesting. I mean, because Jericho, he definitely has mic skills. We've witnessed that throughout the years. Definitely, he's going to be an inductee in the Wrestling Hall of Fame in the near future. So he can definitely MC the Tough Enough without a doubt. We have trainers such as Booker T, Billy Gunn, and Lita, which Booker T is already in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Billy Gunn, just a horse of a man, awesome wrestler all around. And we have Lita with her
boobies,
puppies.
Oh, excuse me, ha ha, puppies.
Lita with her lucha libre-esque style.
Can we say chesticles?
Chesticles.
Chesticular appendages.
Her memories. So I'm interested to see how the conflicting styles will benefit these new Tough Enough inductees. And then we have Hulk Hogan, Daniel Bryan, and Paige. Surprisingly, Paige being the rookie out of everybody in there, being a judge.
We get 2 sets of boobies. Actually, 3 if you count the Hulkster, brother.
No. Ew. Ew.
He's gonna start hulking up, and they're gonna jiggle and shit. It's interesting, right? So we got some active roster performers, we got some non-active roster performers, we've got some Hall of Fame guys, we got some future Hall of Famers. It's gonna be interesting. Will you be tuning in to Tough Enough?
We'll see. Let's see if it holds my attention. But with the judges, with the Hulkster, Daniel Bryan, and Paige, we got a blend of the old, the mid, and the new.
That's kind of like yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Very interesting stuff. I like the way you think, sir. Now, it's not that I don't want to hear you talk, because I do. But we got to get to Raw, because we only have so much time. So, that being said, let's talk about Raw, shall we?
Let's.
So, it's the May 11th episode of Raw. It's filmed live in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the hometown of A1 Dean Ambrose, which that will play into in just a moment. So the show basically opens with a mysterious limo pulling into the U.S. Bank Arena, and out steps the cerebral assassin, Triple H. And the game comes down to the ring, of course, to cut the obligatory opening segment promo, and he tells us that Daddy's home, and that Kane and Seth Rollins ought to behave better, and he invites the two of them to join him in the ring in an attempt to settle things. So Rollins is the first one to come out, and of course, he's flanked by J&J security, and he welcomes his boss back, and he basically says that Kane is a cancer, and that he is preventing him from being at the top of his game, of course referring to Kane preventing Rollins, from being at the top of his game. Rollins then complains about Kane making his match at Payback a triple threat, or allowing the WWE Universe, through an app vote, to do so, and then turning it into a fatal four-way match, kind of driving home the point that in either of these two types of matches, he doesn't have to be pinned to lose his championship, which is a very important thing to know. In the end, Seth suggests to Triple H that he remove Kane from his position of Director of Operations, and of course, this is when Kane comes out to the ring and threatens to chokeslam Rollins. Triple H then tells Kane to check his ego and get on the same page, and he basically tells Kane that if Rollins leaves without the title, you're going to be out of a job as far as your position as Director of Operations. Triple H then declares that all 4 participants in the main event at Payback, which are Rollins, Ambrose, Orton, and Reigns, will compete on this very episode of Monday Night Raw. Kane will face Reigns, and Rollins will face Randy Orton in the main event, and that's when J&J pipe up, specifically Jamie Noble, and he doesn't hear any of this shit. He's not liking it. And he proceeds to just, basically try to put Triple H in his place, saying, "Do you know who he is? He's the future. You don't talk to the future like that." And Triple H is like, "Oh, hey, little guy, you're gonna have matches too. In fact, your match is next, and it's against a one lunatic fringe. Say it with me, Dean Ambrose." So, Papa, I do want to take a few minutes and quickly just break down what happened in the opening segment. Your thoughts on the return of Triple H to TV? It's been a while since we've seen him.
Well, Triple H had to intervene, especially with the chaotic situation that was happening between Kane and Seth Rollins. So I'm glad that he came and put a stop to the cheese eater and the Kane director of operations.
Wait, hold on. Now I got 2 more questions. Are you saying that Seth Rollins is a cheese eater?
Yes, I'm saying Rollins is a cheese eater.
Okay.
He's like, you see what he did? You see what he did? You see what he did? I'm telling on him. I'm telling him. Fucking tattletale bitch.
What kind of cheese? What kind of cheese is he?
From under.
Oh, from under my balls, cheese. I like it. So, what do you think about this dynamic with Seth Rollins and Kane? It's been teased over and over again. It's going to get teased later on in the show. Spoiler alert. With this being said, and the matches that are booked, is it getting to the point? Are we almost at the point where it's time to shit or get off the pot? Whether we actually do something with Kane or we don't and move on? Is it getting old, tired, and played out? I guess is what I'm asking.
Exactly, it is. I mean, because these two really don't like each other, but yet they're on the same team, if you will.
If you will, how did you take the interaction between J&J and Triple H?
That bit was hilarious because he even got to their level and bent over and looked them in the eye.
Didn't he say something like, "Since 2 of you whittle guys equal 1 guy"? Didn't he say something? I mean, I'm sure I'm paraphrasing, but didn't he say something along those lines?
Exactly. It was awesome, and this had to be one of those rare comedic moments from Triple H that he just plays that heel role so well.
Oh, I love it.
He plays a heel role so well that he healed against his own team.
Right? He's just all heel every day. I love it. I love it.
All day, every day.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. All day, every day. I'd love to talk more about that segment, but we have like 25 more segments to blow through. So why don't we talk about the opening match? And this is the 2-on-1 handicap match between J&J Security versus Dean Ambrose. So what I'd like to do is just basically kind of go over the synopsis of the story of the match. And basically, it's his hometown, so Cincinnati is over the moon for Dean Ambrose. They just can't stop chanting Dean Ambrose. In fact, they did it all throughout the night. Excuse me. And basically what happens here is that individually, Ambrose is just too much for J&J and then dominates them rather easily. Of course, J&J, we're talking about Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. And he dominates them rather easily early on until, and it isn't until his advantage lulls him into this false sense of security. Basically, that he forgets that it's a numbers game, and then that starts to play against him because there's a couple of points throughout the match where J&J are able to get the upper hand because it is 2-on-1 ultimately. In the end, though, they lead him into a number of traps, and it's only a matter of time before Ambrose just proves that he's just way too much for them. They're not on his level, basically. And then eventually Ambrose does walk away with the victory after he hits Jamie Noble with a Dirty Deeds double T and Dirty Deeds double arm DDT, and the crowd couldn't be happier. Papa, your thoughts on this match?
Well, before I give my thoughts on that, I wanted to ask you, since J&J Security is not an established tag team and it was a handicap match, we both have our opinion on established tag teams losing in the handicap match. So were you okay with this win or were you against this win?
I was okay with this win. I think and that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. This is the exception to the rule, right? Because J&J, although they're kind of an established tag team, they really haven't been in-ring competitors in, let's see, I'm going to say Jamie Noble in like 8 years, Joey Mercury in probably like 5 or 6. So I think it's believable in the presentation that the two of them have a lot of ring rust. And the way that Triple H kind of dressed them down earlier in the show, with the two of you equal one, it's not that much of a stretch, at least in the way it's presented, for Ambrose to beat both of them. And I feel like also, too, it's good to start the show on a high note. Because if he were to lose that match, Ambrose, if he were to lose that match in the opening of the show, that would be a rather poor decision in front of his quote-unquote hometown crowd. Now, if this was the Usos or New Day or the Ascension or anybody else, I would have a problem with it. But because of the presentation of J&J as more of a security force and not an actual in-ring tag team, I'm okay with it. What did you think about it?
I thought it was highly entertaining. Given that they're not an established tag team, they had very little ring rust. They made Dean Ambrose look really good. So, this match gets my thumbs up. No raspberry at all.
Well, let me rephrase then what I said then. When I say ring rust, I mean not in the way that they don't look great in the ring, but in I'm willing to suspend disbelief that since these guys don't have regular matches that often, that one guy can beat them because they're not as cohesive a unit as they'd like to believe.
Exactly, and I was in the same concurrence with you.
Awesome. So, speaking of awesome things, let's talk about a match that was just a little too short for my taste. It's Dolph Ziggler versus King Barrett. Now, before the match actually starts, Sheamus joins the commentary team. So, let's talk about Sheamus on commentary quickly. Papo, your thoughts on the bully Sheamus on the mic?
After a while, he gets kind of bland. The accent does help, but just some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth is kind of like, you really can't, because of his accent, you can't really take him that serious.
Racist. It's because he's Swiss, isn't it?
No,
it's because
he's Swiss.
He's Swiss.
He's Czechoslovakian.
He's Samoan. He's just an albino Samoan. He's an albino Samoan.
That's interesting. I gotta Google that. Albino Samoan.
I buy it. He's an albino Samoan. Done. I solved that fucking problem. And he's just raised in Europe. So let's talk about this match, right? So, of course, King Barrett cuts promo on the way to the ring, dispenses some royally bad news. But instead of aiming that bad news at Ziggler, he instead aims it at Neville. And this is where we find out that Neville will actually be Barrett's opponent at Payback. So even though the match is kind of short, it is successful in A, setting up itself, but B, also setting up another match keeping that in the forefront of our minds. Did you like how Neville was kind of brought into the conversation and presented as like, oh yeah, by the way, these two are going to have a match at Payback?
It was a nice transition. It still promoted Payback while keeping the match still fresh.
So then, let's talk about the actual match then. What did you think about that super kick? Like, Barrett tells the ref to ring the bell and then goes to take off his crown and robe, and then immediately eats a boot to the face, and then Ziggler goes for the win right away. What was your takeaway on that?
My takeaway was that Ziggler wanted to win, just to show Sheamus that that's what could happen to him.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, and it's always good for um, that to be us to be reminded because I think sometimes that we forget that in wrestling, right? Because it's sometimes we're like, oh, he didn't hit his move yet, or oh, we didn't go into the comeback and the series of false finishes and the hope spot, and we didn't go through all of that. When they go for the pin, I never have a problem with going for the pin right away because it does reinforce that hey, this is about winning and losing. Yes, it's about good and evil. Yes, it's about whatever particular is going on in their storyline, but it's a competition, right? It's about winning, unless you're just a crazy person and winning is not on the forefront of your mind. Um, so Barrett and Ziggler go back and forth very well, an extremely close but short match until Sheamus distracts Ziggler long enough for King Barrett to pick up the win with the bullhammer elbow. Uh, Papo, I wonder if you've noticed this. There was a period for, my God, the longest time, probably years if I really had to think about it, where seemingly 6 out of 10 matches on Raw every week ended in a distraction roll-up. We've seen the death of the distraction roll-up, but it almost seems like the distraction finisher has taken its place. Am I overthinking this, or is this coming across to you as well?
It's come across me also. I've noticed that trend as of late within the last couple, well, I would say within the last 8 months. It's been kind of a trend now. Just before the pay-per-view, there's the roll-up is no longer the finisher. It's the distraction, then the finisher.
I don't mind the distraction finisher combination, but I feel like it's one of those things where it's an easy plot device, right? Like if you're writing a story and you just have these easy ways to accomplish things. I don't want to say like plot hole, but it's like an easy way to get from A to B, right? To accomplish what you want to do. But the problem is that when it's kind of like the saying, if you have a hammer, every problem starts to look like nails, right? And so therefore, every way to fix a problem becomes the same process. And I feel like the distraction finisher, and it definitely has its place, as well as the distraction roll. There's definitely a place for that. I feel like it's becoming a problem where it's overused to the point where it's just like, oh well, we'll do the distraction finish, boom, bam, done, and it's
Predictable.
lazy. It gets overused and it's lazy, and then it's the chewing gum does lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight. That's what I'm saying. When it's done too much, it loses flavor, but I think it worked here. After the match, Sheamus enters the ring and proceeds to bully and humiliate Ziggler and kicks the shit out of him and kills him with a brogue kick. Your thoughts?
We've discussed this many times on our show. Whoever comes out on top at Raw usually loses at the pay-per-view.
Oh, spoiler. Oh, we didn't get to our predictions yet.
No, I'm just saying let's see if that trend is so it's something that we could talk about when we report on Payback.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Hey, Papo, you and I have to talk about the reuniting of not the Mega Powers, but the Wyatt Boys, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Eric Rowan does have a match with Fandango. We're going to talk about that in just a second. It's really not even worth mentioning, but we will in just a moment. So Eric Rowan has been off the reservation, or not off the reservation. He's been off the radar for quite some time. And is it safe to say that the way he was being positioned as a singles competitor was, for lack of a better word, a failure?
Poo-poo!
Excuse me, I'm not feeling well. You have to forgive me. So then,
Coughing up poo-poo!
Oh my goodness, right? I'm coughing up poo-poo. Is it safe to say that you enjoyed the reuniting of these two individuals?
Yes, I did. These two actually work well as a unit. They're already an established tag team, so yeah, let these boys go. I mean, they actually took it to Mark Henry and Big Show. So let them go. Let them run wild. Let's see how these other tag teams fare up. New Day,
I missed
Cesaro Kid. Let them size up.
I forgot about the world's biggest show, or the world's strongest show, right?
It was poo poo.
All right, so let's talk about this match. Surprise, surprise! Eric Rowan wins in 37 seconds. Now, here's what I wanted to talk to you about. It's more important than that. He wins with a full Nelson bomb. Cool. I like the move. Or no, excuse me. I guess that would be a full Nelson slam. So he wins in 37 seconds, and this is after JBL, Michael Cole, and Booker T take bets on how short the match will be.
No.
Is that when they do that? Is that burying Fandango?
Burying ain't the word. He's eating Chinese rice.
I'm not following.
All the way through to the other side.
Oh, I gotcha. I see what you did there. Yeah, I guess it would be different if it was like a local jobber or a local competitor that would be perceived by the TV audience as a jobber. But I just feel like here's a guy that we just reintroduced. He's revamped. He's back to the old Fandango, and he's worth caring about. And the fact, not the fact that he was beaten in 37 seconds, but the fact that they they all joked about how fast Fandango would lose, almost undoes everything positive that they did with Fandango in the past month.
I'm in total agreement. I concur.
So, speaking about things that you and I are in total agreement about, let's talk about what you and I both consider. Wow, that's terrible.
You just curse at me?
It was in Samoan. Let's talk about what you and I consider equally to be, you and I both, to be the match of the night, and that's the John Cena Open Challenge. Now, before we talk about the actual match, I want to say something. I want to get on my soapbox for a second. This is a thing that just irritates the shit out of me. And as you can see, I have a lot of books here, so I'm a fairly intelligent individual. I'm not going to say I'm a genius. I'm not Mensa level, but I know a few things. John Cena likes to say that we live in a democracy. Pop quiz. Is the United States of America a democracy?
Would like to think so.
See if I can get you. See if this comes across in the camera. See what this says? The big C word.
Constitutional law.
All right. I hate to break it to the people who say it, and I'm trying not to be a stickler, but democracy is a bad word, ladies and gentlemen. Democracy means mob rule. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. The difference being is that we already have a piece of paper called the Constitution and the amendments to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. These are the laws that we have, and we can make changes to those laws by using our duly elected representatives. You don't have that in a democracy. There is no standard. There's no, so to speak, Magna Carta, where you have that list of rules. These are the things you can do and can't do. So it's mob rule. So whatever the majority wants to do is whatever happens, and that's not a republic. So I really wanted to make that clear because there's very few things that piss me off than to hear that we're a democracy, because we're not, we never have been, and hopefully we never will be, because democracies are bad. That being said, founded on democratic principles, I'll give you that, but not a democracy. Let's talk.
Back to our show.
Right, back to the wrestling show. It's Neville that answers John Cena's challenge this week. Papo, holy fuck. Let's talk about this match. What's up with that?
Yo, John Cena calls out for his open challenge. Neville comes out, and in no gravity fashion, Neville proceeds to take it to Cena. Let me tell you, this boy is bad. And I mean bad as in good, as in great, as in spectacular, as you got to watch him.
As in fucking amazing?
fucking amazing. Don't take your eyes off him for a second because you might miss something spectacular.
Like his booty.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Stop looking at his booty.
Can't help it.
Pay attention to his high flying. The boy is like on permanent Red Bull. He has wings.
Dude, he got them red wings. I mean, he's got the wings. Yeah, man. That was fucking awesome. So here's what I took. Here's what I took away from the story of the match, right? And you let me know if I get this wrong at any point, okay? It's a well-fought match. And basically, Neville is proving that his offense is something that John Cena just is not familiar with. John Cena has seen high flyers before. We've all seen high flyers before, but Neville is an entirely different breed of high flyer, which catches Cena off guard. And he's got to do things. He's got to be aggressive, like be aggressive, unusually aggressive for John Cena. Is it just me, or did it seem like he was kind of working heel a little bit in that he was rolling in and out of the ring, and he was trying to slow down the pace of the match, something that a heel would specifically do?
It was definitely heel fashion, and given the fact that John Cena was actually trying to slow Neville down, he failed tremendously.
Oh, my God.
Neville kept the pace and the tempo of the whole match the whole way through. Cena was not prepared for that at all.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite spots was that Neville, I forget whatever Neville hit him with, and it basically put Cena in this mental state where, like, I got to do something. This guy's got my number. And he just straight up jabs Neville in the face.
Punched him in his fucking face. Straight thug. I mean, Thugonomics came back for like 2 seconds, and he just punched him right in his face. I mean, there's no punching in wrestling.
There's not.
In the face like that.
Right?
Close
I mean, there's
fist and all.
Right? There's a rule against that. But yeah, it was fucking awesome. And then
he got disqualified.
Should have. He threw him over the top rope. That's also a disqualification. Just kidding. That hasn't been a thing in like 20 years. Or 30 years, I don't know. But so this match was kind of incredible. And it's in a way it's very different than his match against Sami Zayn. Because Sami Zayn's also kind of a high flyer, but he works a very different style than Neville. And I gotta be honest, there was a couple of times, you know what, we even saw Neville kick out of the attitude adjustment. Now, I want to ask you, because when Cena hits him with the attitude adjustment, Cena is basically bounces off the ropes first, so he's like recovering from a kick, and then hits him with the attitude adjustment. Is it, perceivably, when you see that happen, does it seem like he kicked out of the attitude adjustment because Cena didn't hit him with all of it, or that Neville's just a whole different breed of dude, and Cena's just not prepared for this guy?
Well, my takeaway was that Neville was a whole new breed.
I'm with you on that, and that kind of plays up the concept of the open challenge, right? Because anybody that he's not prepared for, he can get on the ring with. And even at one point, he was about to hit him with the red arrow. But before we get into the actual finish of the match, or what actually happened at the very end, is there anything else about the match itself and the story that they were telling that you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
The reverse of the STFU.
Oh yeah, he like rolled it over into like a
pin.
pinning, like a bridging pin, right?
Exactly.
Have we seen anybody do that? We might have, but have we seen anybody do it in recent memory that you can recall? No, neither have
none at
I.
all.
So all in all, it was awesome, and it even seemed like Neville had Cena beat, because at one point Neville goes up to the top rope, he hits Cena with the red arrow, and you're like, holy shit! And there was a couple of spots, by the way, where I thought the match was over, but then it went a little bit longer, which was awesome because I was super engaged. So Neville goes up for the red arrow, nails the red arrow, and seemingly almost at the exact moment where he lands and makes contact with Cena, Rusev jumps in. Rusev's already in the ring and starts stomping on Neville, and then makes Cena pass out in the Accolade. Your thoughts on how the match ended, with Neville seconds away from victory and Rusev kind of snatching that winning opportunity away from him?
I was a bit disappointed. I mean, I do hate when matches get interrupted that was that good, but it also plays into the storyline. I mean, think about how would it look for Neville to go into a match against um, Wade Barrett
Mm.
as a U.S. championship, and then Wade Barrett already holds a win over Neville.
I don't follow. Can you like unpack that a little bit?
Okay, so Wade Barrett and Neville are at Payback.
Right.
How would it look for Neville to walk into that match with a belt against the King of the Ring,
Oh,
Barrett?
I see. I don't know. I think that would be interesting. Um, I liked it, and do you mind if I tell you why?
Go ahead.
Because it reinforces. So this whole U.S. Open challenge is really just that Cena doing the favors, right? He's quote unquote passing the torch, right? He's reinforcing to the mind of the viewers, hey, this guy that I'm beating, he's not just a guy. He's deserving of a main event spot, either now or a short time from now, you know. And I think that with Neville, literally seconds away from winning the match, or at least perceivably, um, I think that that goes to put a reminder in your mind is that, hey, Neville's the guy that came closest to it, and maybe we'll see Neville with a title around his waist very soon. And who knows, maybe because of how the match went down, that's going to prompt Cena to give Neville a rematch. I'd like to see it, but it also reinforces that Neville is he's the new wave of top guys. And if you couldn't figure that out by watching him wrestle, I don't know what to tell you. Um,
Stupid.
However, it is Rusev in the end that stands tall, holding the U.S. title high. Rusev, no Lana. Did that enter your mind at all, or did you not care?
It did enter my mind. I mean, even the crowd yelled out Lana.
All right. As much as I loved this match, and I could talk about it for days, there is a lot of other stuff that we have to get to. So quickly, as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we got a few more segments to get through because, as I said earlier at the top of the show, that we're covering Raw beat by beat, segment by segment, in order as they go. What's going to happen afterwards, though, is the minute we're done talking about Raw, which will be shortly, we're going to talk about our almost award-winning, our self-proclaimed best in the world segment, The Good, the Bad, and the Fugly, where my man and I, we go through and we talk about what we thought was good, bad, and fugly about the show, and then we're going to get into our predictions for Payback. So stay tuned. Don't change the channel, even though you're probably not watching this on a TV. But yeah, fuck it. Don't change the channel because we got more shit to talk about. Papo, you ready to talk about Kane versus Roman Reigns?
Believe that.
Oh, shit. Tell me, Daddy. Tell me all about this match, brother.
Well, I would like to, but there was no match. Roman Reigns comes down. Kane catches him before he even gets over the barricade. Quick squabble,
Hey, can I stop? Can I
and
stop you right there?
go ahead.
Quick question, because this is something that occurred to me just now, and it may have occurred to you before. Is that the flaw? Is that not a flaw in Roman Reigns' entrance? Just because it takes him a while to get down through the crowd and have to climb over the barricade. Um, should he be learning from this in the future? Because anybody could just fucking pie face the dude when he's coming over the barricade.
That is a flaw. I mean, honestly, it takes him a quick minute. By the time he gets to the ring, he's tired, going down the stairs, getting slapped around, all the way down to the through the crowd. So by the time he gets over the barricade, he's probably
Fisting
already
all those
warmed up.
people in the audience. He's fisting them. That's what the kids are calling it nowadays. He's fisting them. That's a lot of people to fist. That's a lot of energy expended.
You're gross.
It's a Samoan pastime. What do you want from me? I didn't make it up. They're savages. Ask Paul Heyman. So then, Kane proceeded to just beat the ever-loving shit out of Roman Reigns, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what ends up happening here, uh, it all leads to a chokeslam attempt that's blocked by Reigns, and he hits Kane with a Superman punch, and then spears Kane kind of on top of the commentary table. Like he spears him, and then they land on top of the commentary table, and then they roll off, and then Roman Reigns believes that as he stands tall on top of the commentary table. Was it a mistake to not actually have a match, or were we saved from something that may have been borderline unwatchable?
I believe the match would have probably gone off really well. What got me the most is that the table should have broke.
Do you think? Does the table
The
just?
table should have broke.
I don't really have any.
The table should have broke.
I'm trying to defend it, but you're right. Roman Reigns, come on, man, do something about that table. Table's making you look like a bitch. Is there anything else you want to say about that before we're talking about the Wonderful Divas match?
No, I got nothing else to say there. And you can believe that.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Brie Bella, accompanied with her sister Nikki. Apparently, they're just full-on faces now. I've been wondering whether or not that they're good guys or bad guys for the past week and a half, but apparently, it's a thing. They're good guys all of a sudden. Weren't they awful bitch cunts not too long ago?
Hey, one told the other one that she wished the other one died in the womb.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's just like unforgivable.
That's not something you say to your siblings. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any brothers, so I guess I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Jeez. All right, so let's talk about this match because it's Brie Bella, and she's actually facing Tamina, who's also accompanied by Naomi. Tamina looked awesome here. She just kicked the dog shit out of Brie, and picks up the win with the super kick. Now, do you want to talk about this match, or do you want to talk about the question that I have?
Well, let's go ahead and just talk about the question that you have.
All right, so Tamina was wearing a knee brace on her left knee, right?
Right.
And she's getting and Brie is getting her ass kicked by Tamina, yeah?
Affirmative.
And weirdly enough, commentary kept talking about how, yeah, Tamina's wearing a knee brace, but Tamina's fine, blah, blah, blah. It was very weird. It was almost as if they were covering up the fact that Brie Bella doesn't have a very good sense of ring psychology. Because, let me break it down for you. If I'm a babyface, and Papo, you're a heel, okay? You're wearing, you got your heel shades on?
Hold on. Keep explaining.
Hashtag heel Papo. So while Papo gets his heel shades on, I'm going to explain the problem I have with this lack of ring psychology. And this is purely speculation from me as a fan. I'm not a professional wrestler, although I wish I could. I just don't have the money to go to wrestling school. You wearing them heel shades?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's talk about this. So Papo is in heel mode right now. Hashtag heel Papo. And he's wearing a knee brace. And he's kicking my ass. And I'm desperate to make a comeback. I'm desperate to stop him from stomping a mud hole on me, to borrow a phrase from a one Stone Cold. You know what I'm going to do? And Stone Cold, speaking of knee braces, ironically, that knee brace to me, in desperation, oh, you know what? Let's take it one step further. Let's say we're in a fight. It's a real fight. You're kicking my ass in the street, and I see that you're wearing a knee brace. Brother, that is a fucking target. I'm going to kick you right in your fucking knee brace. I'm going to punch you right in the knee. Because it's a weak spot, right? In a real fight, you know, there's no rules, right? You kick the guy in the balls, you poke him in the eyes, you chop him in the throat, whatever, right? So if you're in a wrestling match, and this person's just beating the dog shit out of you, and they're wearing a knee brace, they're wearing anything that indicates an injury, motherfucker, best believe I would zero in on that spot and attack it, right? Ooh, I farted. So, Papa, why in the fuck did she not do that? Or did she do it and I just didn't see it?
Well, playing that in the babyface fashion now, she's not going to take advantage of that. If the tides returned and she was a heel, she would have jumped on it as quickly as Bret Hart.
Well, here's my question though. I get that. I get that psychology if like it's the start of the match and she doesn't go after the injury. But if she's getting her ass handed to her in such a vicious manner, theoretically she should want to target that injury because at that point she should be desperate to buy some time, right? Just to create an opening, just to do something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an angry internet wrestling fan and I just can't handle stupid shit like that.
Yeah, but by nature, we are both heels. By nature. Because we're gonna do whatever it takes to win. Being a face, she's not gonna go ahead and she's gonna try to win clean and make it seem like, oh, I'm not gonna target that. I'm not gonna target a weakness. I'm gonna win fair. So they're gonna go and play that storyline.
Well, I mean, she doesn't have to like repeatedly attack it, right? Just I don't know. I don't know. It's just never gonna make sense to me. We're gonna keep it moving. How's that?
Let's keep it moving.
Let me tell you something, brother. We got Curtis Axel versus Damian Macho Mandow. Ladies and gentlemen, Damian Sandow is now doing the Macho Man, wearing the yellow tights with the white stars, kind of a robe, headband, glasses. Ooh, yeah. So I gotta ask, before we get into the actual nuts and bolts of the match, we had talked about 2 weeks ago where Damian Sandow comes out and he spills the beans. He tells us about the origin of the Damian Sandow character, what us as fans have done for him as the WWE Universe in keeping his job, how unsuccessful the intellectual savior of the unwashed masses was, and how he came to be the random comedy guy and then came to be with Miz. And it seemed like he was insinuating that he was moving beyond the gimmick of doing other people's gimmicks. Now he's doing Macho Man. As much as I love the Macho Man, in my opinion, hands down, if you ask me, Ted, who's the greatest wrestler of all time, I'm going to say Macho Man just because he had the package. He had the complete package. He had a look that was unique. He could talk on the mic. He could work. And he had a relatively long career, and he worked with the top guys. Papo, Sandow going back to portraying a character that is not himself or not based on himself, as he is portraying the Macho Man in the version of Macho Mandow. Is this a problem, or am I just reading too much into it? Should I just shut up and enjoy what's on my TV?
Shut up and enjoy what's on the TV.
So we got Axelmania versus Mandow Madness. And after a few seconds, Mandow goes for the top rope for the patented flying elbow, but the Ascension come out and they cut a promo about basically profiting off the backs of fallen legends and trying to be something that you're not, and how they're the future, blah, blah, wah, wah, welcome to the wasteland, all that shit. They storm the ring. Macho Mandow throws out Victor and tells Curtis Axel to drop the leg on Connor, and then Connor and Victor flee from what perceivably is the reuniting of the Mega Powers. What are your thoughts? Is this a sustainable gimmick? Will we see these two as the Mega Powers from now on? What are your thoughts? Hit me.
I believe this is a short-lived gimmick. I am excited. This was highly entertaining. I enjoyed it. So I'm waiting to see what happens with these two in the future.
Ultimately, aside from my apprehension about that we may be going backwards for Damian Sandow, oh my goodness. Excuse me.
Was that your opinion?
No. Well, that was my opinion of the Ascension. Let's try that again. I believe that was fluent Samoan right there. Was that albino Samoan? I couldn't tell. So I like Curtis Axel, and quite frankly, I loved Rybaxel. Right? I love that dynamic, and I like Axel. I like Damian Sandow. So as far as I'm concerned, my apprehensions aside, any excuse, any reason to see Axel and Sandow on my TV is a good thing, and I'd like it to keep going. So I'm okay with it. I just hope that it hasn't already run its course, that it doesn't get boring and it doesn't get stale. And speaking of things not getting boring and stale, we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan's update on his health. Papo, I know tears were flowing at Casa de Papo when Daniel Bryan made his announcement.
No, but I'll let you run with this, Bearded Wonder.
Well, tears were flowing here in parts unknown, so I'm just going to quickly move on. I'm going to quickly tell you what he said and move on because I don't want to get emotional and start speaking in Samoan tongues. So basically, Daniel Bryan comes out and he essentially reminds us that almost exactly a year ago, Stephanie McMahon stripped him of his newly won WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And that essentially she was right to do it because there was no specific time frame as to how long he would be out of action. He admits that he had an MRI last week, does not say what the MRI was of, which is, I don't want to say telling, because, I mean, it's telling in the fact that it's serious, but it's not telling in the fact that we don't know exactly what he's talking about, whether it's his arm, his neck, his head. But he said he had an MRI last week, and it is unknown how he will be out. How long he will be out. Whether it's weeks, months, maybe never. Maybe he never comes back. Man, Cincinnati did not like hearing these words. And he tells us that, in the end, we deserve a fighting Intercontinental Champion. Whether it's Dean Ambrose, whether it's Roman Reigns, whether it's Adrian Neville or Sami Zayn, any of those people deserve to fight for it. And him holding on to it would be selfish and unfair. And that is why he's relinquishing his title. He leaves it in the center of the ring, and as he leaves, there's a chorus of "Thank you, Daniel" chants that break out throughout the arena. And apparently the Intercontinental title just disappears before the next segment. Papo, your thoughts on Daniel Bryan's announcement, and then we can keep it rolling.
Well, honestly, I got much respect for Daniel Bryan. He's an awesome in-ring performer. Hope he gets better and gets back to the ring as soon as possible. So, from Ted and Popple, Daniel Bryan, get better and come back.
Can I add a caveat to that?
Go ahead.
Get better, come back, and when you do wrestle, be fucking safe. Like, you don't have to put your life at risk every match, right? Like, you can. There's a reason why Hulk Hogan had such a long career. You know, yeah, he dropped a leg. Yeah, it was not impressive, but it's what the people wanted to see. At least change the style so you're not diving and you're not throwing yourself needlessly into harm's way, because it scares the shit out of me. And that, I'm just purely speculation here. That might be the reason why he's out currently. So please get better. I was talking to my Samoan Siamese twin in my shirt. Now, let's talk about the New Day. New Day rocks as they come out to the ring and cut a promo. Now, Papo, I'm assuming you had a pee-pee break?
Yeah. I don't even remember this match for real.
That's okay. I'm going to quickly run through it. And I would strongly suggest that you take a look, check it out later, just for the fact that how the match ends. So I'm going to talk about a couple of good things about the match, and then we'll talk about the end of the match. So Cesaro in this match proves that he's stronger and more agile than his opponent Big E. And holy shit, Big E busts out an abdominal stretch, not once but twice. And I'm a big mark for the abdominal stretch. A, because it really hurts, and B, because it's fresh to see it. Papo, can you think of the last time we saw an abdominal stretch on TV?
Not since the Attitude Era.
Dude, like for fucking forever ago, right?
Shawn Michaels, I believe, was the last person I remember.
It's a great hold, right? It's a great hold because you can catch a guy coming off the ropes and you can slow the pace down and really work the abdominals and then, jam your fucking hand on the side and punch the shit out of him. It's a legit. You put somebody in an abdominal stretch, and don't try this at home, but goddamn, that shit hurts. That's for real. And in real life, nobody's taking a hip toss out of that. It's just not happening. Um, at the end of the match, though, Cesaro, I gotta fart again. Ooh, Cesaro goes for the big swing, and Kofi just, and this is actually like a chain of events, like a dominoes. Ooh, so I'm farting all the time over it. Smell-o-vision, if we had it, you people would stop watching. So Kofi distracts Cesaro, then Tyson attacks Kofi, then Woods attacks Tyson, and then Cesaro confronts Woods, and then Cesaro turns around when Big E's running towards him, and then hits him with this cradle that I'm pretty sure I've never seen before, Papo. Imagine he goes under the one arm, crosses to the other side of the back, and then kind of hits the guy in a hammerlock, and then takes the top of his head, pushes him down, and then kind of throws his one leg over the back of Big E's head and rolls and hooks Big E's one leg with his other leg. I can't describe it well enough. You really have to see it. It's the wackiest roll-up I've ever seen, and I loved it, and I hope we see more of it. So, and hey, by the way, if you, the people watching this or listening to this right now, if you're aware of what the name of this cradle is, I'd fucking love to hear it. So please comment in the section down below. Let us know what the name of that thing is, or if you just want to call it the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man cradle, go ahead and say that down below as well. Now, Papo, I want to talk about the next announcement, and then we'll just quickly keep it rolling, and then we'll hit the main event, and then our good, bad, and fugly, and then predictions. Okay?
Stay tuned for these announcements from Tedski.
So Michael Cole announces that WWE Network exclusive return to the Elimination Chamber Sunday, May 31st in Corpus Christi, Texas. So this makes sense because I had wondered why Payback was scheduled for the 17th, I believe.
Yes.
What?
The 17th is a pay-per-view.
Oh, that was you agreeing with me. Okay. I was wondering why it was set for the 17th because, you know, the 31st was the last Sunday of the month, and typically they're on the last Sunday of the month. And surprise! Surpresa! It is that way because we get Elimination Chamber on May 31st. What I don't understand is about 6 months or so, Stephanie McMahon said somewhere in an interview to someone, it wasn't me, but I don't know, I heard it, it's a thing, that they were going to stop doing the Elimination Chamber because it was difficult to get into a lot of the arenas, and it was kind of a waste of time and money, and they had to use up excess seating, blah, blah, blah. It was a waste, right? They lost money on it in the arena. But now they're bringing it back. Do you remember this statement? Or am I just a weirdo and I'm just making things up with my paranoid, schizophrenic self?
I say a little from column A, a little from column B.
And
honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, because I could have swore there was a statement. Don't make me seem that crazy. What do you think about the primetime players cutting a pre-tape promo pretending to be the New Age Outlaws?
Keep the ball rolling.
Okay. Bray Wyatt cuts an in-ring promo, basically saying fears all around you. That's the subject of this promo. He explains that he picked Ryback simply because Ryback was in his way. And sometimes the bad guy wins. Sorry, kids. Ryback comes out, Phoebe Moore, comes down to the ring, kind of muscles Bray Wyatt, shows his strength, and Bray flees. Then we get the main event, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Papa, I'm going to be honest, I kind of checked out for this match.
Yeah, I mean, if Seth Rollins versus Orton, it's getting repetitious now. I mean, it's almost as getting as bland as Big Show versus Roman Reigns.
Sorry, can you...
And you froze on me. Still with me? Hello?
Papa was freezing, so I'm just going to keep this ball rolling. Oh, hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, something wacky just happened. So, do you mind if I just basically break down what I actually saw / remembered of the main event, and then we can just talk about some other better things?
Please do.
All right. So basically, we get to the end of the match, and Orton's about to hit the RKO on Rollins. J&J hit the ring. They start to beat up Orton. Kane comes out and grabs a chair from the timekeeper, and then just stands there in front of the commentary team. Rollins with JJ Security continue to beat down on Orton, and Ambrose and Roman Reigns both come to the rescue, which the crowd goes, "Wow, yay!" Rollins eats a Dirty Deeds DDT, a spear, and an RKO while Kane watches with chair in hand. This is what I was saying about earlier about the shitter get off the pot with Kane, because I'm really tired. I don't mind the slow build or the slow burn, but like this is just painfully slow on something that really isn't going to have much of a payoff. It's just, hey, Kane puts on the mask. Fucking, we've never seen that
Ooh.
before.
Ooh.
Right, which we've seen him do like many times. He'll go back to being the Demon Kane. And he doesn't
Did you
even.
say
He's
Donut King?
Yeah, I said the donut game. Fuck it, why not? And the sad part is, like, the story is that Kane's supposed to be conflicted here, but he doesn't look conflicted at all. He's just like, my name is Kane. I have a chair. I will stand here and watch. Um, so, so he's basically given a choice: help the champion or enjoy the show of Seth getting his ass kicked. Then, out of nowhere, Reigns decides he's going to spear Orton, and then Ambrose hits Reigns with a Dirty Deeds DDT, and then that's how the show goes off the air. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you stayed with us so far, I'm very thankful. We've only got a couple more things to talk about. We got the good, the bad, and the fugly. Then we're going to get into our our payback match predictions. So, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share your social media, send me $1, show me your movies, all of the above. Now, Papa,
Woo!
woo! You ready to talk about the good, bad, and the fugly?
Let's go in to our self-proclaimed award-winning segment.
Balls deep, Papo. Hit me with your good, bad, and the fugly.
My good was the Neville versus John Cena match. Excellent. Neville is amazing. He is my good. The bad, I'm going to give it to the Roman Reigns Kane match. They didn't even make it to the match. And now the fugly was that primetime player promo.
All right. So I'm going to get into my good, bad, and fugly as well, and I'm with you, Papa. My good is John Cena versus Neville. And that was easily the high point of this Raw. My bad is Daniel Bryan, his health announcement, and that he will be not on my TV for an extended period of time, maybe never. That's my bad. My fugly is just the abject burial of Fandango. Of the Fandango that was just reintroduced to us as someone we should care about, and then they buried him anyway. Now, holy balls! Now we can talk about our WWE Payback 2015 match prediction. So we're gonna go rapid fire. First match, or this is the order I have them in. It's probably not the order that they will be in because I'm always wrong on that. So, Papo, Neville versus Barrett. Who wins?
I'm giving it to Barrett.
All right, I'm gonna give this one to Neville. U.S. title, I Quit match. Cena versus Rusev. Who wins?
I'm
Who goes
going.
over?
I'm going with Cena. And you froze on me. Hello? You froze on me.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. There you are. I heard you say hello. Hello? Hello?
Papo.
I hear you.
All right, I'm back. So, let's try this again. Cena versus Rusev. I quit match for the U.S. title. Who you got? Who's going over?
Cena's going over.
All right. You and I might not agree on any of these matches. I'm going to say Rusev goes over. I'm going to say Rusev's going to play that clip of Cena saying I quit like they did back in whenever, I'm going to say 99, Rock versus Mankind. I'm going to say Rusev wins because you know what? They told us that this would be the last chapter to their feud, and I know that WWE cannot tell the truth when they say anything's the last chapter. They just have to keep it going. So I'm going to say Rusev wins, and they go to match 5. Pablo, Axel and Mandow, the Mega Powers 2.0 versus the Ascension. Who you got? Who's going over?
I'm going to go with Axel and Mandow.
Okay, finally, something we can agree on. Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus. It is not a Kiss Me Arse match. It's just a regular match. Who you got? Who's going over?
I'm going to go with Ziggler with that one.
All right. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I got Ziggler as well. The tag team title match, 2 out of 3 falls. New Day versus Kid and Cesaro. Who's going over?
I'm going to go with Kid and Cesaro.
I'm going to say New Day finds a way to eke out the win by introducing a fresh man into the mix, a la the Freebird rule. So maybe it's Kofi and Big E in the first fall, and then in the second fall, maybe one of them switches out with Xavier Woods.
It definitely sparked my interest, but I'm going to stay with Kid and Cesaro.
WWE World Heavyweight Championship Fatal 4-Way match. It's the main event of WWE Payback. When they get their payback at Payback. Rollins versus Orton versus Ambrose versus Reigns. Papo, who you got? Who's going over?
I'm going to stick with Rollins.
I'm with
he
you.
Retains.
I'm absolutely with you on that one. I think he retains. And I'm going to go so far as to say not only does Rollins win, but it's going to be Dean Ambrose that gets pinned. How's that?
Oh, interesting. I can't wait for this Sunday.
All right. Papo, I got to ask you. We talked about Raw. We plugged our shiz. We talked about the good, the bad, the fugly, and we gave our predictions. Is there anything else we got to say before we get the hell out of here?
One thing I wanted to mention, that the question is up. Who's a better wrestler, Ryback or Goldberg? Still on the Facebook page. Please comment. If you comment, we will give you a shout-out. I'm going to go leave it up for just one more week. Please comment, and you'll definitely get a shout-out on the show.
And
that's all I got to say about that.
All right. You want to tell these ladies and germs how you feel about them before we get out of here?
Keep watching. Appreciate you watching. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate your views. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Go to the Facebook page. Send us your emails at tedandpapo@gmail.com. Go to the Patreon page if you're interested in becoming a sponsor to the show. And I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but when I poop, I always wipe front to back. I'm out of here.